here's the deal, guys. We're going to find out what happens when you plant soybeans in north central Wisconsin on March 12th on a year that it's really dry. And actually, I was a little worried coming out here with tillage because you know what you can do with tillage in wet soil. You can really ruin your soil by causing compaction layers. I've been doing early planted soybeans like this for about 5 or 6 years, and this is kind of scary, guys, because this is the best conditions I have ever been in this early. This is the earliest, and this is the best conditions. So these conditions I've had in May during our normal planting season, and it's just a little bit concerning that our moisture is not there yet. It's worrying me a little bit. But anyway, we're going to continue on, and we're going to find out what happens when you kind of do everything wrong, okay? Because that's what we're doing here. This is not right. You know, any agronomist would look at you and say, you're nuts, and say, don't do this. But it's March 12th. It's 65 degrees today. I'm out here with our Quadtrac and ProTill. Now, here's the deal. I got the ProTill buried as deep as I can go. I took every plate right out of it. And the goal here is to get a carrot root on that soybean approximately 4 inches deep. And I feel like I'm working the soil about 4 to 5 inches deep. So that's kind of what I'm after. I want to develop a good carrot root system. But man, let's see what happens here, guys. I have worked this field up twice. I really want to make it into fluff. Again, not something I would normally do, and this is totally wrong. This is totally wrong. But we're going to do it because we got to learn. This is how you learn things. So let's make this happen. We're going to let this dry. Actually, I could plant right behind it. I can't today because I have to go watch my kids, but I can't do it today. But we are going to get this planted tomorrow, and then we're going to try something after we plant to get those roots to go down just a little bit deeper. So let's work this guy up, and let's get her planted tomorrow.
Right now, we are just emptying the extra corn seed from this 4-row planter that we built here, and we got the T8 320. And we're getting ready to plant some soybeans. Gotta go and get some soybean plates. Gotta go out there, easy. We finished emptying out all the seed. Now we're just putting these back on.
Yeah. And the craziness of the end of this planting season last year was a little bit of corn got left in our plot planter, so no big deal. Just gotta get it out. Well, Mom planted with it last year, so that's maybe why nothing ever came up.
Here we go.
So Brady was just asking how the chain comes apart, and there's a master link, and it looks like all the other links except it's one that you can disassemble with the pliers, or at least that's what I use. And we're just going to put it back together right now and get our soybean chain on, because the population between soybeans and corn different. All right, this back together, and then we can get the soybean one on. Okay, for soybeans, I have it written here, 160 is 1B. Big one, big one.
Doesn't blue look the best? I found a spy hole. It's been a long time. Park. Time to start it.
Keep going. Alright guys, we are out planting today on March 14th today is. I planted a little bit yesterday, got the planter set up. But why is this such a big deal? You might be watching this video going, well, that's really not a big deal. You know, the ground's ready or what whatnot, but we are in north central Wisconsin. This shouldn't be possible, but here we are on coming off a very dry year, going into a very dry spring. We have not had hardly any snow this winter. It is just very concerning for all of us here. But we are going to experiment, because a good friend of mine once told me, if you can't take 5 or 10 acres and screw it up royally, then you're not trying hard enough to learn something. And that's what we're doing. We're going to either screw it up, or we're going to learn something, or we're going to do both. And the last few years we've been doing this early planting soybeans, I haven't had a crop fail on me yet, which is just crazy, guys, because these soybeans go through freezing temperatures, freezing grounds, snow, cold rains, saturated grounds. You name it, they've gone through everything. But at the end of the day, my goal for these soybeans is that they actually don't grow. So our normal planting time, so how does this compare to our normal planting time? Well, our normal planting time would be late April or early May, throughout the May month. So we are quite a bit ahead of schedule here by a long shot. And most people still have planters put in the shed, not even thinking about it, calling me crazy. Yeah, I already know that, but here we are. Let's get it done. And I'll take this all the way to yield with you guys and throughout the seed growing season, so you can see. I am dropping 160,000 seeds per acre, which is relatively high. But if some of them come up, or they come up and they freeze off, maybe I got to back up. I don't know. But right after this, we're going to get the rotary hoe out, and we're going to poke holes right where the seed is in that seed trench in order to oxygenate that seed trench. And I'm doing that just to learn, just to see if we can get some more yield out of these soybeans, because we're all kind of stuck up here in this central Wisconsin region on our yields, right? Like, soybeans are a tough crop. I all but gave up on them, but I had listened to a talk from a good friend of ours, Wade Omican, who works for BASF, and he's just a soybean guru. It's so much fun to listen to him, and he got me re-energized into soybeans. And so here we are trying some crazy things, but if you don't try, you don't know. And I'm gonna quit rambling, and you guys can watch me plant with this little planter I built. All right, let's just talk about that for a second. So this is a 4-row. I built the bar and the air system, and I had some white 8,000 row units and meters left over from a planter we used to have. Some of the shanks are bent a little bit, but I actually built it to plant sweet corn, so I didn't have to clean my big planter out every time. It works great. It's a very heavy built planter, actually. This tractor is too big for it, I know that. But it is the tractor that has GPS on it. It's easily accessible in our shed, and I just always put it on this little planter. It's a lot of fun to operate with this tractor. Could I have a bigger planter? Yes. But this works so good for planting sweet corn and doing these little test plots that I just love having this thing around. It's all mechanical. There's not even a planter monitor. That's why I have the lids off the boxes, so that I know when I'm out of seed. Like, that's how archaic this thing is. But it is so much fun to learn to do plots like this. And if you know how to set up a planter, well, it comes down to the mechanical downforce and seeding rates and ride and stuff like that. So it's not that difficult to get some really good stands with this thing if you know what you're doing. So again, I'll stop rambling. Let's get to planting. Conditions are favorable, okay? This is very dry ground already. Now this ground is some high and dry stuff, really good fertility. It is right by our shop. Boom. And I'll be able to watch these soybeans throughout the year, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we are recording everything in field view, and you can see it running there. The nice thing about field view is it does not matter. It doesn't care what equipment you have it plugged into or what you're pulling. You can make that equipment in the equipment page, and I made a little 4-row plot planter and plugged the drive into the T8. It intercepts the GPS signal. It does not intercept the CAN bus for the planter because there is no monitor, but I can tell it. We have 4 rows. We are planting 160,000 flat rate. This is our variety, and I can hit start and stop planting whenever I need to. And it's just the coolest thing. So if you don't keep good data on stuff like this, you will not learn anything. So the data that we're gathering for this is the utmost important, and FieldView is the core thing that I use to keep this all straight throughout the entire year. Every pass we make through this little plot will be recorded with FieldView. At the end of the year, I'm going to be able to sit down and generate some reports using FieldView, and it's going to be super awesome to see those reports and how things laid out by planting date, by planting depth, like all that stuff. It's going to be super useful for us on our farm, and that's how we're going to learn things. So why are you planting soybeans so early? Well, this gives me the confidence, guys, to get out there a little bit early with our soybean planter and get things in the ground and learn how they need to be placed, the down pressures, the seeding rates, what I'm looking for. So I have always planted soybeans first, knowing the information I know now by doing plots like this and by using FieldView and getting all that data throughout the year. So it has improved our soybean yield on our entire farm by many, many bushels, and we're going to keep doing things like this to keep improving our yield on our farm. That's why I do it. That's the simple answer. I like to be progressive, I like to learn, and I'm just going to keep going. All right, so now that we're done planting, the next job, and this is just an experiment, is to bring out my custom built rotary hoe machine that I got here. And what I want to do is actually run down the rows that I just planted and use those spikes of that rotary hoe to make some holes in the ground, right in the seed trench and right around it. And that'll help that soybean root get some more soft soil, if that makes any sense. A soybean plant is not like a corn plant. The corn plant will drill down through some hard stuff, and it's actually probably pretty good that it can be packed in that soil a little bit tighter, where the soybean plant is not. It's very, very weak. And we want that soybean root to go down, and we want those compass roots to go in all different directions. So what I'm trying to do here is make this seed trench area very, very soft. And that's my goal here. So let's take a look at what I got set up. Okay, here is my seed trench right here. Okay, see if we can find a seed. There it is, right there. And I got my rotary hose running right over the top of that seed, okay? And these things are just pointy. We're just gonna poke some holes. Let's go take a look at what it looks like. All right, so it's hard to see, but there we go. Okay, and yeah, we're just kind of taking this soil and flipping it up and dropping it and making it really, really fluffy. I'm gonna get some flags and I'll mark it so that we can follow this throughout the year. Well, that's all I can really tell you guys for now. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to keeping track of this. I'm gonna get some flags and flag all these good rows that I really hit right on the money, and we'll kind of prove our concept, or maybe it won't prove anything, but I'll see you guys next time.